Greetings, lords and ladies of the realm. Today we are going to do a Devblog overview, and basically just going to go right down the list of questions and read Terrell's answers, and then I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on each of these questions and answers that Terrell's gave. Before we go down that though, I do want to say I think it's pretty nice that Terrell Worlds has offered to do this and that they have done it. You know, answering questions is not always easy, especially when you're in early stages of development. So I respect the fact that Terrell Worlds has taken the time to answer questions that we have as a community. And you know, they might not necessarily see one question asked by one individual, but if a lot of us ask the same question, then I think it's proven that, you know, they will try to take the time and answer it in a productive way. So without further ado, let us begin, shall we? Okay, so the first question is, the way of reporting feedback is the first question that comes to mind. If I join open beta, would I be able to report feedback issues with ease? And how would I do so? Okay, so I mean, there's several approaches. You could do they open up the section in the forums, obviously. There's also email links, which is probably what they're going to do. You know, straw polls, whatever. Let's see. So let's read Tello's answer. We have a beta section in our official forums, which has been segmented in a way to allow players to provide feedback about specific points while making that information easily accessible by our development team. The forums are hidden right now, but they will be opened and accessible next week alongside the first wave of beta invites. In addition to this, we send out regular feedback forms via email to gather players' thoughts on different aspects of the game. See, okay, so it should be fine. We also use automated tools as a part of our process, which allows us to gather data on a number of different things. One example is an analytics tool on our servers. This allows us to track events in each multiplayer match to aid us in balancing the game. Another tool is our crash reporter, which automatically sends a crash report to us for review. Okay, so let's see. So I do have first-hand experience with crashes in the beta, and the crash tool is nice. So basically just click a button and it sends your crash log to Tailworld server, apparently, and then their tech team reviews it. So that's very good. Let's see. So I'm not sure what Terrell's approach to this, like giving feedback, is going to be. It sounds like they're going to open up the forums, first wave of beta invites. So however they decide to do the first wave, I'm guessing by this answer that all of those people in the first wave are going to get access to the beta section of the forum. So, and then they can give their feedback on bugs and the gameplay and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, question number 2. What criteria are you basing the waves of invites for the beta on? I'm assuming computer specs mostly. Okay, let's read their answer. We have identified several key groups and we'll be allocating quotas for different groups according to the kind of feedback we need at each specific stage of beta testing. For example, at one stage we may invite old Mount and Blade multiplayer players because we are particularly interested in how they will adjust to a certain mechanic. On the other hand, we may invite players with low-end PCs because our engine team needs to see how the game runs on their hardware. Okay, so basically they need to see, you know, there's so many things that they need to go over and look at. Yeah, I'm making sure the game runs on medium and low range PCs is pretty important. However, that said, I don't think that's their main priority right now. I think the main priority right now is to nail combat down, nail the very foundations of the game, which is, you know, combat, horse riding, archery, basically the combat. You know, the whole game revolves around combat. If they don't get that right, then the rest of the, you know, game is not going to do very well. So that is question number 2. Let's go on to question number 3. Will the beta expand to include other game modes? I would love to go with captain mode and other modes. The answer is, of course. To give you an idea of how this will progress, when we started the beta, we launched skirmish mode, 2 factions, 1 map. Over time, we introduced captain mode, team deathmatch, selection of maps, remaining 4 factions. At times such as the case right now, captain mode, we will disable some content so that it can be worked on and improved before reintroducing. Moving forward, we hope to introduce more content, including siege, as a game mode. However, we should say that people shouldn't expect new content with every patch. Sometimes the patches will be focused entirely on balancing bug fixing. Okay, so that's pretty expected. I mean, obviously we don't expect like big giant 2-handed swords and cool looking armor with every new patch. Yes, that is expected. Okay, so question number 4. Will you give a chance to single player players to try multiplayer and hear their opinion, or will your first choice be multiplayer players for the beta? Okay, and their answer is, we are interested in hearing thoughts of people from a wide range of gaming preferences and backgrounds. Bannerlord single player and multiplayer share a lot of the core systems, in particular the combat system, which means that changes we make based on the feedback from our beta testers has a knock-on effect with single player. It is for this reason that we strictly won't select people who prefer multiplayer for single player. Okay, so go back to the question. Tailworlds has selected a wide range of players. I do not believe that everyone in the beta is strictly a multiplayer player. Most of the people who play multiplayer also play single player. I myself play single player. I'm not only exclusive to multiplayer, even though that is my main, that's where I put most of my warband time into multiplayer. But yes, I do play single player, and I think it's that way for a lot of players. I think most of the people who play multiplayer also play single player, at least to some extent. So with all of that said, I think it will be fine the way they're doing it right now. It seems to be working. You know, improvements are coming out, and the Tailworld is making patches and fixing things as they can. So it seems to be going fine the way it is. I don't really see a need for change, but you know, it could change. I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but it seems to be working right now. So moving on to the next question. Let's see. Okay, question number 5. Will the beta be ongoing until or very close to the launch of early access? If not, when will the beta close? Okay, for now we plan to run the beta up until the launch of early access. However, there may be times when we decide to close the servers down for certain periods while we make adjustments and improvements, and it's also possible that our plans may change as we close in on the start of early access. But if they do, we will let all of you know. Okay, so this is basic. I mean, basically the question is, okay, is beta going to be open all the way until March? They've basically said yes, but don't be surprised if we do take down the servers time to time, and don't be surprised if our plans change. This is expected, at least I expected it, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, not a big deal. I think it would be wise of Tailworlds to keep beta open all the way up until early access, because the game needs work, and it's and it's going to be good for them and good for us to polish the game as much as possible in the coming 6 to 7 months that we have left before early access comes out. And you have thousands of people playing the game, so it's beneficial for us and them that the game is polished before early access comes out as much as possible. Okay, moving on. Question number 6. How long is the game planned to be in early access? Okay, let's read what they said. We have some internal estimates of how long the game will stay in early access before making it to full release. However, at this moment in time, we prefer not to share those. We are more focused on creating a game that allows players will enjoy and keep coming back to and playing well into the future. This means that our estimates could change depending on how happy we are with the state of the game and whether we feel it is ready for a full release or not. Okay, so how long is Bannerlord going to stay in early access? This is a very good question, and it can determine the success of the game overall. This is hard to predict, but okay, so we have 6 to 7 months before early access. Okay, it really depends on how much more polished the game gets before we reach early access, and then at that point in time, you could start throwing out guesses. You could say, okay, the game's gonna be in early access for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. Personally, if I had to guess, I would throw out a guess of 6 months in early access, which puts the game release date like September, full release date at September of next year, right? So, but it's anyone's guess how long the game will stay in early access. But it's a very good question, and definitely something we'll be coming back to later. Let's see. Okay, so moving on, question number 7. Okay, the money question. Let's see. Will the price change upon full release? We will be sharing more information about the price of the game closer to the start of early access, whether or not this will differ from the full release price. So this is very important for Tale Worlds. It's important for us. Price of the game, people who are really dedicated to the game, they're going to pay a lot of money. People who are new or not so dedicated to the game, they're going to wait for a Steam sale, essentially. So, price of the game, I'm going to throw out a guess and say somewhere between $40 and $60 US. I think that's fair, especially considering that the game will have single player and multiplayer in it, and it is it's on a high level. They've been working on it a long time. Yeah, that's my guess on that. Let's see, moving on. Next question. Okay, so question number 8. Roughly what percentage of single player features and gameplay mechanics will be in-game upon early access? That's a good question. Many of the blog posts make it seem as though it will be nearly feature complete, while other posts suggest otherwise. Okay, what's their answer? Most of the basic features will be there. We can say that it will be possible to play a campaign from start to finish with 100 hours of gameplay. Wow, very big game. Obviously, we knew the game was going to be big, and obviously Tale Worlds wants the game to be big and be playable over and over again, mods, etc., all that stuff. Continuing their answer. However, some features may be missing or turned off if they're not in the state we would like to present to you yet. We encourage players who want a complete and fully polished experience to hold off from buying the game until full release. Okay, so the concern is that players would play the game in early access and features would be missing and they would be upset, etc., and they wouldn't come back to the game. That is, it's a concern, but I don't think it's, Terrell has said that, obviously buying the game in early access, you are buying a product that they are not completely happy with yet, and that they are continuing to polish. So if you want a completely polished experience, hold off on buying the game until full release. And that's expected. That makes sense. So, for all of you out there who buy the game in early access, don't be upset if the game doesn't have everything you wanted yet, or if the game has some bugs still, essentially. Okay, moving on to the next question. Let's see. Will we be able to host dedicated servers in early access? This probably won't be possible at the very beginning of early access. Probably. That doesn't mean, so basically that means TerraWorlds hasn't rolled it out, but at the very beginning when early access first releases, they're not going to want a bunch of dedicated servers yet. There's a chance that you could have dedicated servers in the middle of early access. So maybe 2 or 3 months into early access, we could possibly see some dedicated servers from players. So maybe, May, June, July, we could start seeing dedicated servers from players. Maybe. Tailrose hasn't ruled out that possibility. So maybe. We will see when the day comes. Let's see. Moving on to the next question. Okay, next question. Which languages will be available in early access? Okay, we will only support English at the very beginning of the early access period. A few languages in game. Okay, that easy peasy question. Yes, there's going to be multitude of languages. This is Terrell's main title. They're going to want as many languages as possible to be able to, have as big an audience as possible. So that makes perfect sense. English makes sense. It's the most spoken language. So there you go. Easy peasy. Moving on to the next question. Okay, so there was a noticeable absence of banners in the battle shown at Gamescom. Have these been removed, or was it just a temporary measure? Okay, banner and banner bears will definitely come back as even better and more polished than before. Okay, I haven't seen all the Gamescom footage, so I'm not sure what they're talking about here. But I'm guessing that, okay, there were banner bears in the battles before, and now they weren't there at Gamescom. Okay, Terrell said they're going to come back, so, we're going to have banner bears in the battles, which is pretty cool. I like that. Okay, next question is on cloth physics. Is this a feature still in the game? Can we expect any kind of human hair physics? That's a good question. Yes, I can answer that. The cloth physics are in the game, they're in the beta. Let's see what they said about hair. Hair physics wasn't a priority since it's difficult to get right. Look into it. Okay, we'll look into it if we have the time later. Yeah, human hair physics is really demanding, so I don't know that they're going to do that. I guess we'll find out. That would be cool, but we will see, I guess, on that one. Let's see, next question. Okay, I did notice pommel bashing at the Gamescom video. Is it still a thing? Terrell said, yes, it is very much still a thing. The animation is different depending on your weapon type, which might explain why you didn't notice it, but regardless, it's still there. Okay, so pommel bashing, that's a pretty cool new addition. I like that. It's realistic, and they can fit it in with the combat. Now, how effective is it? Does it actually do anything? I mean, like, is it just there to be cool, or does it have an actual mechanic to it? Is it effective, basically? I guess that's yet to be determined, and we will see if pommel bashing actually is just there for looks and flashiness, or if it actually has an effect on combat. And moving on to the next question, and the final question. Let's see. In earlier installments of Mountain Blade, it was always bothering me that I had to choose a flag that has already been used by a lord. I don't know how this will go in Bannerlord, but since it has the word banner in it, will we be able to choose our very own unique banner, or even better, create one without modding tools? I think this would be a small yet great addition to the game. Okay, this is a highly debated topic, and for good reason. I also would like to have, my own special banner. So let's see what Terrell said. Okay, we were planning to offer a banner editor. However, we eventually decided to limit it such that each clan has a specific charge, with the color scheme of the banner being determined by the kingdom. Not sure what that means. Each clan has a specific charge, with the color scheme of the banner being determined by the kingdom. Okay, this has the advantage that it gives clans within a kingdom a more uniform look while retaining their character. Having said all this, we already have quite a variety of different charge designs, and it is a great idea to let the player select from ones that are not used by any existing clans. Okay. Why not have a banner editor? I'm very confused by this design choice. This is one of the only things I've disagreed with Terrell on so far in this whole Q&A. Why would you not have a banner editor in Bannerlord? Like, that doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, I'm sorry, but like, okay, Terrorworld's allowing players to make their own unique banner would be amazing. It would be completely beneficial for Terrorworlds. I'm sure it would help boost sales, which is important. It just makes sense to have a banner editor for players to make their own special banners. Not sure why this isn't an option. Doesn't really make sense to me. It's something they could do fairly easily, I think. I believe it's pretty easy to do that. It would be easy for them to do that, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's really difficult for them to have a banner editor in their game. I'm not sure. Not sure on that one. But I do know it's being discussed in the forums quite extensively. So I guess that about wraps up the Q&A from Terrorworlds. So final thoughts and opinions. I think it was really good for Terrorworlds to do this. Really stretches their limbs on answering questions. However, I do feel like some of these questions were kind of easy peasy. I don't know. Some of them were not. Some of them weren't. Some of them were. But regardless, it is nice that they are answering questions and that they took the time to do this in the first place. That is very appreciated. Any developer answers to questions are very much appreciated by the community, and any future answers to more questions by the developers will be very much welcomed by the entire community. Anytime a developer posts something or addresses a concern of a player, it is very welcomed, and hopefully Terrorworlds continues to do that in the future. So, with all of that said, I think that about wraps up the session. If you like the video, leave it a like. If you love the video, share it with your friends and subscribe. And I should catch you guys in another video. Stay patient and stay ready. I'm sure we're all going to get into the beta soon, very soon. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful day, guys. Take care.